Alright guys, here we are on another cold Wisconsin winter morning. The family's upstairs sleeping, so I'm going to be talking low initially until we go out to the garage. So I'm doing this part indoors because we don't need to be in the garage for that. So this is the Mishimoto coolant filter kit for the Jeep Wrangler JK. Mine is the 2012. And it's pretty cool. It's an all complete kit. It comes with the filter, the Wix filter, and I think we all love Wix products. It comes with the hose, the cool hose with the hardware inside of this bag too as well. It comes with the bracket to be able to put the hose on to, put the filter on. And here's the bracket that mounts to the passenger side frame rail, and hardware in there as well. And we also have the two valves for being able to shut off the coolant when the engine off, of course, to be able to replace the filter. So this is a standard filter. So if you're in a replacement one, you can get one off the shelf. So it's not specific for this kit, you know, so that part's pretty cool. From tools, pretty easy. You're just going to need some thread sealant, and just some regular pipe sealant, a cutter to be able to cut the hose down to the proper length. I have this from working on some of my rental properties that I own, so I already had that. I also have a 3/16 open-end wrench, and I also have a box cutter just to be able to cut into the plastic to get the parts out. And they also came with a cool little brochure from Mishimoto and some of their other products, so that's pretty cool. And remember, if you like what you're seeing, please subscribe down on the subscribe button to my channel. So the first thing we want to do up here is get everything ready so when we go out there we're not fussing around. So what I'm going to do is cut the old dull blade. Cut into the bag. And this is it right here. Really good quality, nice piece of stock aluminum there. I like that. And when you have the filter here, basically it's just going to get the two ends there. It's just going to thread on there, and I think I'll initially thread this on here just to hold it, so when I'm putting these valves in, it'll give me something extra to hold on to, you know, as I tighten these down. So what I'm going to do first is I'll set that down, get out my thread tape, and put it on up. And I'm just going to put some on here. Go around a few times. Not too many times, just enough to get it in there. Nice and tight. And there we go. And I'll do the other one as well. Alright. Some of you guys may see my pinky and my ring finger here. That was from when I was installing the tire carrier on the Jeep Wrangler, the Smitty built tire carrier. kind of, well, you can see what happened. Let's see here. So now I have both with the thread tape on there. So now I want to start putting it on here. And I think what I'll do is put the valve into a open position. So I have free rein to the 13-16 millimeter. We'll go right up in there. So that on there. Initially tighten it on by hand, and then as you can see why it's nice to go ahead and put the filter on ahead of time to give you something extra to hold on to as you crank down on here. And the filter is going to be situated like that. So when you go to change the filter, you're probably going to pop the hood. So you're going to have the view from up top. So you probably want these to be pointed upwards. So you probably want to end your turning with the handles pointed upwards, not downwards. At least my preference. So I'm going to go get them around there. Alright, just a tad bit more. Alright, I think one more little turn. That will be exactly where I want her to be at. Right up there like that. Alright. So that way I can look down there and turn it, open it or close it, whatever way I need it to be. And now I'll do the other one. Right there. And turn it around too for that one. There we go. So, final view. Alright, so I'll set that there for a moment. And just do a little bit of unboxing on there. Because at this point I feel we'll be ready to go out to the garage. But go ahead and take some stuff out of the bag. So, this is the bracket that mounts to the passenger side frame rail. So it'll be on the frame rail from the inside, and then this right here will mount down on there like so, like that. You see that? And then it comes with the hardware too. And I like this slotted holes, so you're able to adjust it to the right positioning for how you install it down there. It's pretty cool, right? And then hardware for it. You got the 2 bolts for mounting it to the frame rail, and then you have these black bolts in here that uses an Allen's wrench for mounting the filter housing to the bracket. And then the last thing is here. Put a link down in the comment section to Mishimoto in case any of you guys are interested in this. I think it's pretty cool. So this is the hose here. You know, there's a unique hose, so you're not going to find this in your local hardware store. Real nicely built hose. So the coolant that normally would route in your car now, this will go in place of that. And what's pretty cool is that it has the ability for the coolant to go through the filter in these long hoses right here. In case there's any blockage, the coolant still has the ability to flow through. So it's a nice fail-safe right there. And that's where this comes into play here, is that depending on where everything is located at, you're going to need to cut the hose down and run. So that's where this was come down at. And we'll go through all that when we install that into the car. So remember, if you are interested in this Mishimoto coolant filter, just look down in the comment section and click the link. And one last thing, before we go out to the car, why would you want this? From what I understand, the way that the heads were manufactured by Chrysler, Jeep, that there may still be a lot of sand from the molds on there that weren't cleared out completely, so that may be flowing through your system and blocking it up, causing folks to have coolant issues, replacing radiators unnecessarily due to premature failure. So this right here is designed to prevent that. Alright, so I'll see you guys in the garage, okay? Hey guys, now we're in the garage. We were inside earlier putting that Mishimoto coolant filter system together partially, and now we're going to install it into the Jeep. Again, this is a 2012 Jeep Wrangler JK, and I've preheated the garage a bit, so I won't have to have that blower going, so you guys can hear me a bit better. And hopefully you guys also hit the subscribe button down there. I'll be adding a few more things on here over time. My next thing, kind of small, but as you can see, the hood is held up by the stick. So I have the struts coming, so they'll be able to lift it up automatically. Well, some degree automatically. You still got to push it up and down yourself, but you won't have to use the stick anymore. I may paint them the same color as the car before installing them, but I'll know that for sure once they arrive. So maybe you want to hit that subscribe and follow along and see how that goes. Anyway, to get this installed, got things down here already. So I have my coolant over here to top it off, and as you can see, it's the orange colorish stuff, the Zertex G05. And I also have my ratchet. I have a 15 millimeter box end open end and 15 millimeter socket. I already have one of the bolts already ready to put on there. I'll take the nut off though before, because you have to fish it through the frame rail on the passenger side. And so this right here, I put a piece of napkin in there to hold the bolt in, so when I'm fishing it through that frame rail,
it wouldn't just fall down, okay? So that's the purpose of that. And I don't want to drain out any of the antifreeze, so I'm going to attempt to do this without draining out any. So I have my hose clamps here to be able to help me to reduce the amount of coolant loss, and some wine corks, wine bottle corks to help out too, in case it's needed to help plug up any of the hoses on there. And I'm not sure if I'll need any power equipment. This should be a pretty relatively easy install. I don't expect it to be very difficult. I've already removed the Red Rock cold air intake. I have a video out there on me putting that in too, as well as the spacer in the throttle body. So this is what we're looking at right here. We're going to be tapping into this hose right here. This one is what is going to come off in order to put our new hose on, and for the coolant line. And here's the unit right here. You'll see I've already taken the coolant bottle off. It was already mounted onto the bracket, as you can see. And so from what I can tell, it's probably easier just to take this from the top. You see down over there, that's the area we're shooting for right there, that part of the frame rail. Now that's the passenger side now. As you can see from the top, you see the alternator there, you see where the cold air intake box is, battery. So orientation wise, you'll see that power steering line right there is going to go right back there behind that wire loom over there. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to fetch it down up in there, and set it off up in there like that. So it's down in there, already ready for me. Okay, and now we're going to go underneath and take a look and see how things look from a mounting it underneath standpoint. To be prepared, I'm going to grab this, and this. Now some people put some Loctite on their bolts, and that's up to you, but these type of nuts, I really don't see the ones with the like that. I can't really think right now, but I don't think there's any need for that, so I'm not going to do it. And so we're going to get under there and see what we can do. So this again is the passenger side. I'll get that light out of the way so you guys can see a little better. And upwards. So as you can see, that's the shot, spring, and so that's my front passenger side wheel, lower control arm, shock, spring. So if you upper control arm, if you go up, now you can see the bracket right there. See that? That's the one I lowered down. And so it's going to go into, it's going to connect to the frame rail all over here. All right. And you may not be able to see it. I can't even see it from that side, but you can see my hand fish up through there. All right, there is the new bracket right here. All right, frame rail right here. And what we're going to be doing is putting it in from this side. So there is a hole over here, right about there, and it's going to fish in through there. All right, I'm not taking this big ass wheel off for this, so I'll get this together. Hold on. All right, so here we are. I'm going to point out the holes that we're going to use in the frame rail, and hopefully you can see that. You see our bracket right here dangling down. So those are the two holes right there, 1, 2. And this is the engine bay side of that frame rail. We're going to use that hole and that hole. They're going to correspond with the two holes that are in this bracket. There are two holes in there for mounting. Now we're going to move on to the outside of the engine bay side of the frame rail on the wheel side. And I'm going to see if I can get my light over here and point out where we're going to be. You see those two holes? All right, so there's the spring right there. See that big hole? Everybody can recognize that one when you get under here. Here is your sway bar right here. All right, it's your headlights up there. So you see that big hole? Well, see these two holes next to it? That's why I have the extension. They will go through there, and you can possibly see the hole through to the other side. And so there's two of them. We're going to be using our extension with that to be able to get in there and get our bolts on. All right, so that's the plan. All right, let's give this a try. I've got the camera orientated, hopefully in a way where you guys can get some view into what I'm doing over here. Right now I'm on the wheel side, about to slip the wheel, the bolt in through to the hole. So it's going through and it's sticking out through the other side. I'm not sure if you guys can see that or not. It's right over here. And I'm lifting up the bracket right now. Lined up with that, and if you guys aren't really getting a good view of this, my apologies. There we go. I got one of the bolts in. See that to some degree. This is it right here. See it? There it is. Now I'm going to get a nut and put it on there. Start it. Alright, so that's one there. Now I'm going to come out. I'm going to get the other nut, bolt, and give it a try for the top one. Alright, just getting it forced into my socket over here. Now I'm going up to give the other one a try. That one's a little bit more difficult because I think my extension is a little too long. I'm taking the extension off here. See if I can just do it through with my socket. Quite work out. Let me try. Yeah, it's there. The hole is there. Alright, I think that's it right there. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it did come through. So I'm going to adjust the bracket to receive it. There we go. I don't want to lose my socket in there either. Let's see here. Just put the nut started on there. Started on there, and what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to grab my short extension real quick. Bear with me. I brought my long extension. It's a hair a bit too long. So my short one should be much better. Okay, I got it. And now I'm going to put that on my ratchet and get this all buttoned up. All right. All right, I'm going to screw the top one over here first. All right, and now I'll get my ratchet. Just put it over there. Alright, that's the top one. Now moving on to the bottom. On there, going to our ratchet. Start trying to get that out. Alright, so let me get you guys down here with me. Alright, so we have the two bolts in. You can see the nut side over here from the engine bay side. And we go to the other side, you guys can see what it looked like for me with the ratchet over here. Let me bring a little light over here for us. And so now let's see here. Just wait to see my ratchet here in a second. Once I find it with the camera. All right. Here. There we go. And a little light. And you can see the ratchet in there. And it came out. So one went in that hole, and one went in the other hole that's below that. So that's it from the bottom. I haven't put the filter on yet, but we'll get to that. As I said earlier, I don't want to drain it, so I'm going to try to quickly convert it over. And the things that I was going to use on here was these right here, were these right here to plug up the ends while I'm doing this, because this is the end up here is the end that's going to be going on first, so these will be open. down here, so I don't want stuff to just come rushing through. But these are actually a little too soft and a little too big to get in there. I have some smaller ones, but can't find them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a bolt and some plastic and just wrap it around here, and then just take it and stick it on up in there. All right, let me see if I can get that. All right. And then just jam it up in there, like so. And I'm gonna do that to both ends. As you can see the bolt in there. The plastic is really just to kind of help seal it up so it won't leak out. And I'm gonna do that to both ends as we work and get that one on there. I figure I'll take one off first and then slide it on. And what I'm going to do too as well to help out, that's where this right here is going to come in handy. So I'll open that up and I'll put it on here, clamp it down, and then this part comes up to hold it on, as you can see. And so whichever end I end up taking off, the other end should be to some degree plugged up. All right, so let's give that a try. All right, I had said I was going to put this on at the connection at the bottom. Actually, I misspoke. I meant this right here is up right next to the alternator, right to the left. This is the U-shaped hose that we're actually going to do right here. So we're going to connect this hose right here up to this one. So we're just going to remove this out and connect it up in there, all right? All right, so I have the clamps tightened down on both, orientated in a way to make sure there wasn't any blockage in the hose, that wasn't twisted. And now what I want to do is connect the hoses over here. Now we have this hose here, right? Radiator hose. I have these in this slot, you know, you see this one is close to this one and this one's close to this one. I have it there, so you have that range. It would be better if this wasn't in the way, the way I could have the hose here for easy connection. But at the same time, I could make it so this stick out here, but that would make this in the hose over here by the pulley. And I don't want that from a closeness standpoint. So it's probably gonna be a little work for me to route the hose around there and get it on there good, but I think that is the best route. So one hose going here and the other hose routing behind this hose and then coming up into this one right here. So I think that's gonna be the plan. I'll probably tighten it up from the bottom opposed to the top. I can't do that with the camera, so I'm going to pause this and I'm going to get my hose cutter right here to cut this down. All right, and it cuts it real easy, no problem. And cut it to length, making sure to cut it short enough, but cut it where I got some extra on there. Last thing I want to do is cut it too short and turns around that I don't have enough length there for what I need. So let me go ahead and do some cutting and some connecting, and we'll come back. All right. All right, got one of the hoses on, and I went long with the remaining hose on there. I figured I'd rather have more than not enough, and future options, I guess. And you can always cut later if you find that's necessary. So I have that hose there that I need to cut, tighten up the clamp. I have it in the closed position for any fluid that may come through. And now I'm going to do the other one. All right, so now I have both hoses connected up. Getting the one behind the lower radiator hose right there was pretty difficult, but I think it was a better move. I didn't want the hose that you're seeing right there being more towards the what is that? The power steering pump pulley right there. I wanted that over there close by that. So routing it this route was much better in my opinion. In hindsight, I should have drained it first. I wanted to deal with the antifreeze that was leaking out. It wasn't horrible, but it would just been a lot cleaner if I would just went on and drained it. Given that I got to put antifreeze back in it anyway, and now I also have to clean up the antifreeze, so it probably would just been easier just to put a bucket under there and drain it down a bit. Don't forget to tighten up those Allen bolts right there. I tightened them up already. I would suggest probably putting some Loctite on them, because those aren't lock washers they give with you, just regular washers. So I would probably suggest putting some Loctite on those right there. It's still in the closed position. I've made sure the hoses over here isn't in the way of, say, the fan spinning, or it could get in the way. I made sure there wasn't anything wasn't twisted or in a way where it would restrict fluid from going around. I have both of the levers right now in the off position, so fluid can't flow through. And so now I'm going to get out the filter right here, and I'm going to put a little antifreeze around the seal up here, and then screw it on, then add some antifreeze, and put this puppy back together and see how it is. So, negative, I have to get under here with fluid on the ground because I didn't drain it, but that's my own thing I have to bear. Convenient part is there's already a little fluid down here on the ground, so I can get some and put it around the lip on the rubber gasket on here. All right, dry my hands off. Get this light out of your guys' way. All right, and now I'm going to take this and screw it in up there. Luckily, this is my shop work coat for the winter time, so I don't mind the antifreeze getting on there. It's full of oil and everything anyway. Alright, I'll probably come back down here with a rag though and tighten it up a bit more. You don't want to, really torque it down too hard. Think of it like an oil filter. You get that contact, and then you may want to do another full turn after that, but don't overboard with it. Alright, let's go back up and see what we got. Now, that's on. Now at this point, I'll go ahead and open these up. So that one's in the open position. All right, and I want to do the one that's behind there too as well. Put it into an open position. Now I was able to move this hose onto the other side of that and rotate this way a bit more, and had it here, which was, that looked pretty good. I was like, okay, fine. But I didn't like the pressure that it was putting up against these holes. I know when the summertime, when it's real hot, this swells up a little bit, gets a little softer. I didn't want anything pressing up against that, so I figured it was better just to, work hard and get it in on that way. Now I'm happy that I went that route now. All right, so I got that all in. I'm probably going to throw a couple of zip ties on down there just to make sure to keep the hoses in their respective locations, and then I'll put this back on and we'll hear a run and make sure there's no leaks. All right. I'm going to add the coolant right here. And let's see what I have this kit right here you get it for a Honda, but it's good for multiple applications where you're able to pour your coolant in and let it fill up. You got this right here what plugs it up so you can take it off if there's any extra coolant. So I'm just trying to see if it works. So it'll be the first time I'm trying it on here. So just giving it a try to see. Let's see. I guess maybe it's a couple more. Let me see if any of those work. So it's actually my first time attempting to use it on here. No, this type is not for that. That type is too small. There's one more in here. Definitely too small. So possibly this one. Something like that, I guess. Yep. And taking all the extras out of there. So put this on the bottom. Seems to have a gasket here. Kind of seal up around there. And then I can take, let me see if I can raise that up a bit. Take this out to allow for me to pour fluid down in there. So let's give it a try. This is it, by the way, in case you're wondering. Well, that's not doing so good. Let's see here. See if I can do it without this right here then. And just put it in there. Or maybe one with a better seal. Let me try different ones. Let's see here. That almost did it. Oh, that one fits pretty good. So I'm using this blue one here. So it went in there really good with a nice tight seal. And then I'll put this on top. And now let's see how it goes. Ah, there we go. That does it. So let that air get out of there. That's what we want. We want that air in there. And then when I run it with this still on there, it should help the bleed out. I know I'm going to change my radiator probably in the summertime, and I believe there's a bleed screw back in there somewhere. And so I had to figure out what that was to help me out with the true bleed. And now before I turn the car on, I just want to get as much coolant in there as I can. better than just standing in there trying to pour this down there with just a bottle into the hole or a little funnel. Basically, just pour a bunch in there and let gravity do the work for you. All right, I'm going to go start her up. I'm hoping this isn't one that spits it all out as you start it up. So we'll find out in just a moment. All right, yell to me if it starts spitting it out. All right. I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to turn the heat on high. On high, still cooling up in there right now, so let's just let it warm up and see how whether it takes more or not. Under 2 minutes into it running, and it was pretty much near the bottom. Look how much it has risen to the top. See that? It's a good thing to have that on there, because imagine just trying to bleed it out and having all that just running out. Talking about some overflow, man. So, and I'm taking the hose over here, still cold. So, and when I go inside, earlier I didn't feel any heat yet. And you see, yeah, still don't feel any heat blowing yet. It's still cold, so it's not ready yet. The temperature is up, but still air up in there. And I think until all that air works its way out. I think the thermostat still has to open up. So, and I'm looking at the cloudiness up in there. I think the flush will probably be in it. Future too as well. Probably should have flushed it before putting the new filter on there. Woo! I got to get some of that out of there. Look at that. It's about to overflow. All right, it did overflow a bit before I had a chance to get my turkey baster here to take some out of there. I'll keep an eye on it, see if I need to do that again, get the turkey baster on it. But you can see there's a lot of air still coming out of there. Look at that. Really bleeding really well, so I really highly recommend getting one of these systems for yourself. It's getting kind of high again, like I better get the turkey baster out. Yeah, overflowed again, and I missed it, but I caught some of it. Got up to the top, and you see now it's taking it down. Now I better, pour some more in there. I guess the thermostat just opened up. I'm assuming that's what just happened there at that point. Yeah, I'm starting to feel some heat on this hose now, so the thermostat is definitely opened up. Check the heat inside. Still cold on the inside. The temp gauge is fine over there, but still cold on the inside. stop earlier because I had to do something. So I'm starting up to finish the bleeding of the system, and that coolant was nasty. So I know I definitely will need to do multiple flushes on this. So my suggestion is, before you install this system, flush your system. Definitely flush your system. That would be my suggestion. I wish I would have done it. Because you see how clear that is before? If you remember earlier, you couldn't even see the bottom of this thing. There was so much sediment that came up through here. So I suspect I'm going to need to change out that filter like immediately after this. But given that I'm planning on changing out my radiator anyway, I'll wait to do the flush until I change the radiator, because I don't drive this car in the winter time anyway. So I'm just doing all this work in the winter so that I'm able to enjoy the car in the summertime as opposed to doing the work. But my suggestion to everybody would be, flush your system. I'm sure you saw all that sediment that came up. That was a lot, and that was pretty awful. So I'm sure that filter is getting plugged up like right away. Keep doing this until we get some hot air, and I'll check it back in. We see the coolant is starting to get cloudy again, going up and down, getting cloudy. Well, one thing, this is the correct setup. I was showing you wrong before. I had to use the cap with the blue piece, so it's the blue piece in there, the cap on top of that to hold this on, and then this sitting on top. All right, so that's the correct setup. It's kind of high, so I'm going to turn it off and it'll drop down a bit. Okay, so it sucked it all back in. I added a little bit more in there. This hole started shaking. You could tell there was air up in there. I squeezed it, it burped it out, and then it just took all of that coolant down up in there. So still cold air coming out through the in the heat inside though. No hot air coming through yet. So I'll keep you updated. Alright, I'm finally starting to get some hot air coming inside the cabin. So I'm going to close up the, take this off and put the radiator cap on and see what I got going on. Okay, everything? Alright, so everything is working much better now. I'm getting heat inside. I'm not really seeing any more air coming through. So the way you want to do it is probably get you one of these to help out. You're probably going to have to start her up, get her up to temperature, have fluid in there, not all the way to the top of course, and let her warm up, let the thermostat open up, squeeze it over here a few times. You know, after you start feeling this get warm, squeeze it a few times, you know, to help get the air, work out the air. You see me squeezing it now, to help get the air out of there. And then after it gets up to temperature for a bit, you know, running about 10-15 minutes, then shut her on down, let her cool down. And then after it cools down, open her back up, start her back up again, and go through the process again. You want to try to work out all that air up in there. And in case you may have gotten any air or have any air into your heater core, and I think that was part of my issue too, I had some air in the heater core. So what I did was I raised the temperature, raised the RPM several times, going up and down, to help get that, circulate that coolant through that heater core better. And I think that helped to get the air out of the heater core, which helped me to get air on the inside. But now it's nice and even, it's running good. Heat on the inside. I think I got it nicely tight, topped off over here, and so I think that's a wrap on this one. So thanks for going on this little journey with me guys, and until the next one.